1 or 2, not even 1. Okay, let's say something. If we were talking about a very small minority, out of which many are closeted, it would be really extraordinary that all of you would know someone, right? You wouldn't expect everyone to know someone. If we're doing a really small minority and then 70% of them in the closet, if we were talking about just very, very few people, you wouldn't know everyone. So I'll say something. Now, my next question is, now this question is for the men in the class first. So we'll start with Juan. In your opinion, in your experience, in your imagination, in your perception, no need for any empirical basis, what percentage of men is gay? 5%? 10%? 5? 20? Jason? 25? 15? 5? 20? 10? 10. Okay. Next question, again for the men first. What percentage of women is lesbian? 3.5? 15? 20? 15? 25? 10? 10? 15? 10? 10. Okay. Now, a question for the women in the class. What percentage of men are gay, in your opinion? 10? 10? 20? 50? 50? No. 15? Well, my other class had a woman say 80, 80, so. 20? 20? 15? 8? 25? 20? 20? 10? 25? 25, okay. What percent of women are lesbian? 5? 10? 10? 10? 25? 5? 10? 5? 15? 15? 10? 10? 10? 25. Okay. In your readings for this week, you have a description of the results of the Kinsey report. So we're going to be looking at 2 studies that looked at the incidence of homosexuality. One is by Kinsey, Alfred Kinsey, and the other one by the University of Chicago. So let's begin with the Kinsey report. It is the biggest, most important, the report that used the biggest sample ever. Okay? Alfred Kinsey was a zoologist at the University of Indiana. And in between the 1930s and the 1950s, he published 2 major studies on human sexuality. First, on male sexuality by 1939 or so. And then later on, in the early 1950s, another one on female sexuality. Just for the male sexuality study, he used over 20,000 subjects, over 20,000 respondents. So that's a large sample, okay? Actually used close to 25,000. Just to give you an example, the study by the University of Chicago in 1994 used altogether about 5,000 respondents only, men and women. So compare that to the Kinsey studies, over 20,000 just for men, okay? By the way, there is a movie out there, Kinsey. You may want to watch it, and we'll discuss it in class. It's really interesting. It's a recent movie. It was just relatively recent. There's another movie I'd like you to watch, Trans-America. Watch it, and we'll discuss it in class. So Kinsey and Trans-America. So we're going to look first at the results of the Kinsey study, the Kinsey reports. You have those results on Moodle. The reading is on Moodle. So I'm going to open it, and we're going to see what Kinsey came up with. Okay, this is what he found out. Give me 1 second. He found out that 4% of all men is exclusively homosexual throughout adolescence and adult life. Now, don't be misled. This means that 4% of all gay men never even try to experiment with women. So they just have a homosexual experience from early childhood or whenever, or throughout their adult life. Okay? Another 4% of the total male population is exclusively homosexual throughout their adult life. So they may have some heterosexual experimentation as adolescents when they're 14 or 15, but then they're exclusively homosexual. Another 2% of the total male population is more or less exclusively homosexual throughout their adult life. So 4 plus 4 plus 2, that's 10. That's where the gay movement gets the 10%. And if you go to any gay area, you will see they have many of their products are called 10%, or gay publications 10%. That's the reason why. The Kinsey reports this 4 plus 4 plus 2. Then another 3% of the total male population is bisexual with a homosexual preference throughout their adult life. Another 5% of the total male population is bisexual with equal preference for men and women. Another 7% of the total male population has, although you can call them, you could say bisexual, they're bisexual with a heterosexual experience, with a heterosexual preference. And then another 12% of the total male population, although you can call them heterosexual, straight, still have some homosexual experience, which includes orgasm throughout their adult life. Then another 13% of the total male population feel some occasional attraction to other men, but never have sexual relations. So this makes up 50%. Now the other 50% of the total male population is exclusively heterosexual, without their having any homosexual experience or desires throughout their adult life. Now when the Kinsey reports were published, now Kinsey wasn't just looking at homosexuality, okay? His studies were on male sexuality and female sexuality, not just homosexuality. It was just part of the report. Okay? Now, when the reports were published, actually when the male report was published, and we're talking about an 800-page report, it wasn't any light thing. Okay? It's a very scientific, very well structured and studied report. He got lots of people against him. People were very upset. Conservative people especially were very, very upset. He was harassed. The funding for his studies was cut off. He was accused of corrupting the youth and corrupting society. And he caused a true social and cultural earthquake, a true tsunami. Why was that? Well, if you read the press from back then, I mean, the impact of the Kinsey reports was huge. They changed society. Why would a scientific report corrupt the youth, pervert the youth? Well, what Kinsey found in his reports was, to begin with, that there was a lot more sexual activity going on than society was willing to acknowledge. People were having sex. People were having fun, so to say. Husbands were cheating on their wives, wives on their husbands. Single people were having sex all the time, and there were lots more of homosexual activity going on than previously suspected, or at least talked about. But this was a scientific study. What was the problem? What has that to do with morality? Well, remember what I call Wilde's paradox? After Oscar Wilde, Wilde's paradox. Nature imitates art. Nature imitates art.